development, Mr. Wendell is about the plight of homelessness and encourages people not to look or not to ignore homeless people just because of their status or how they look. Here's a sample of the lyrics. Here have $1. In fact, no, brother man, here have two. $2 means a snack for me, and it means a big deal for you. Sup, lumps. Yo, dudes. Here on the evening show on 891 with MC Gers, it's nearly 13 past 8. Our good bloke Dudley Afford is coming along.
Tomorrow, as people make breakfast, some kitchens will be a lot noisier than they should be. And the reason? The humble kettle. Complaints are starting to surface that some kettles with concealed elements are, well, deafening. Now, the solutions range from buying a new kettle to knitting a big tea cosy, but tomorrow we'll give the problem the 891 breakfast treatment. That's breakfast with Matt Abraham and David Bevan here on 891 ABC Adelaide.
Here is a fine young man, Dudley James Afford, and he has an autobiography, My Life on Wheels. Welcome, Dudley.
Thank you very much.
I think you're one of the luckiest people I've ever known, because your parents are here today. You're surrounded by love. I don't know, I've never read anybody who's been given more love than you have, Dudley. And you must be very grateful for that.
Yes, I am.
Now, you live down with the Josephites, who are marvellous to you, the Joeys.
Oh, yes.
And they really reached out to you. And you live with them now down at Flora MacDonald Lodge.
Yes, I do.
And you enjoy that?
I absolutely love it.
Now, reading your book, because you were born in, let me see, what, 84, is it? 87, sorry.
87.
Yes. And at Queen Victoria Hospital. And were you premature?
Yes, I was supposed to be born on Christmas Day.
And you were born in October.
Yes.
And you have cerebral palsy.
Yes.
And what other complaints?
Sometimes I think, Daddy, you can't do it, and the next morning you think you can do it.
And you do it, don't
Yes.
you, generally?
Yes.
You wrote a note in your book, about halfway through your book, you did a Dudley's Independent Living Plan. This was in 2002.
Yes.
And it shows like a tree of where you wanted to go in your life.
Yes.
That you wanted to be confident and trusted. You wanted a footbridge up near where you lived in the hills. Practice using hands more.
Yes.
To be able to turn on the television yourself.
Yes.
To clean yourself by 16. To answer the phone, hold the phone, to use a computer.
Yes.
And at the top of it, what's most moving is caring for others.
Yes.
You seem, and you've achieved all those things, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You seem to be a person who reaches out to other people.
I put other people before myself.
Why?
Because the people out there who hasn't got any families at all,
Yes.
I want to help them. If they do have families, I help the families as well.
And are you responding to the help that you've been given over the years?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a thank you in a way.
Yeah, it's a thank you in a way, yes.
Because you've been helped enormously, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And people have always reached out to you. Now, you've lived in all kinds of different places, Saddleworth and in rural Victoria.
Yes.
Back to the city.
Yes.
Up in the hills at Macclesfield, is it?
Yes, Macclesfield.
And in all these different places. And you've had lots of carers, haven't you, Dudley?
Yes.
And many of whom are acknowledged in the book. They're very important to you, those carers.
Yes, they are really important, yes.
Particularly to live independently.
Yes.
Why did you want to live independently?
Well, I got 4 friends who really can't talk, and we used to be in duck education together.
Yes.
And they used to make noises, do anything. And I think at the beginning of my life, they said Dudley, you won't talk, you won't do anything.
Yes.
And that's why I wrote this book to show other people, like
Yes.
my friends who can't talk or
Yes.
can't do anything for themselves.
Yes.
That's why that's why I did the book. But I'm getting sick and tired of everybody asking me, "Oh, what can you do? What can you do?" And my old teacher at Barker High School, he said, "Dudley, why don't you write a book one of these days?"
Yeah.
And I have.
Good. And you're pleased with it?
I am thrilled about it.
Yes, you would be. How did you write it?
By my dear mother.
Ah, so you would talk to her.
Yes,
And
and then I tell her what to put in my diary on the computer at home in Macathula, and she put it on, and then she put it in a book.
But it's your story.
It is my story, yes.
And all the triumphs, and all through your life, each step, each thing that you've been able to achieve, and sometimes like sitting up,
Yes.
or being able to have a drink for yourself.
Yes.
All of these things.
Yes.
Let alone helping others, let alone helping change attitudes to people with disability. Because you've travelled very widely, Dudley, haven't you?
Yes.
And you, in some ways, trains and planes, you've helped change those attitudes.
Yes. Yes.
Because you have to be lifted out of your chair, do you?
Yes. Yes.
With a lifter.
Yes.
And how often does that happen per day?
Twice a day.
And each wheelchair that you get, you discuss and rejoice in each new wheelchair as technology improves.
Yes.
Because you are dependent on these wheelchairs and you've got to be comfortable in them.
Yes.
What do the nuns teach you? What have the Joeys taught you?
Well, love and care.
Well, that's very important. What are your ambitions? What do you want to do now?
Still look after my friends there for McDonald.
Yes. And you go around in your chair, do you?
Oh, yes.
And you like to have a good time. You enjoy other people's company and you enjoy your own company. I think.
Yes.
Yes.
A friend who is 2 rooms up, if the family's in there, I have to say, I'm just going to back him out, and he says, "Dudley, please come in here. If the family's there, I have to go in, because if I don't go in, I've been stopped by many times by this gentleman."
How does it feel? Because you are living, it's a nursing home.
Yes.
And you're living among largely older people. You must enjoy their company.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do love it.
And you love older people. I think would find you very appealing, and this helps you too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
And it perhaps helps them because people get lonely and isolated.
Yes.
And away from their families and their communities, even at that beautiful place. You quote your mother in the book saying, "You can try to do anything. It doesn't matter if you have to ask." Get other people to help you. And that's true, isn't it?
It is true, yes.
To be asked, because if you ask in the right way, and you've had a lifetime of that, I'm sure people are helping you.
Well, yes, some carers are lovely, some are not.
Oh. I suppose it's a gift to be a carer, isn't it?
Yes.
What does that person need?
Could you say that again, please?
What does the person need to be a carer?
Attitude, the right attitude, and lots and lots of love.
Do you find, because of your disability, because you're in a chair, do you find people think you're stupid, Dudley?
Well, yes. Some people down there, they do think I'm absolutely stupid.
Or do you have people talking down to you or talking at you like you were a 2-year-old?
Yes.
And how do you deal with that?
Well, what I do is I just lock myself out of the trouble or I just go and tell the lady in charge. That's what I do. I'll tell the RN on duty.
You went to the St Joseph's in Bridge Street and then at William Street in Norwood.
Yes.
And these were important years for you at that primary school, weren't
Yes.
they? Because you were very well cared for, weren't you?
Yes.
And that's, I think, your relationship with the Joey starts there, doesn't
Yes.
it?
Mr. McCarthy, he said it was the only school I'd go to.
It's a good school. You write in the book, and my guest is the remarkable Dudley Afford, and his book is My Life on Wheels. You write, caring for me by now was taking a big toll, you're 13, on my parents. The organising of necessary equipment, taking me to school, as well as my own frustration at being in a wheelchair became extreme. My personal care included very frequent turning during the night. One night, Heather, that's your mum, took a piece out of her jewellery box each time I needed her to turn me. We counted 19 pieces on the cupboard next morning. You call your parents by their first names. Why do you do that, Dudley?
Because they called Heather when I was small at school.
Yes.
And when I went down to live at Macclesfield, when I lived at Carandella
Yes.
with the Joeys,
Yes.
we got this carer, which I won't use her name because it's gone on the air.
Yes.
If I do that, I'll be in big trouble.
Well, maybe, yes.
And I called Heather by her real name to her,
Yes.
and she didn't like that at all.
The carer didn't.
No.
Oh.
She asked me to call Mum. And I thought, why do you have to do that? I had a big fight with her. I don't talk to her for weeks. And that's the truth. And Heather doesn't mind me calling Heather.
And I think it's lovely. I used to call my parents by their first name towards the end of their lives, and I think that's a good thing. You're a Christian,
Yes.
a Catholic.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? I think you're very devout.
Mum and Dad are Anglican.
Anglican, yes.
And it was only the school who can take me over the road, the straight road of take. That's the only school who took me.
Yes.
And that's why I'm living down at Fort McDonald now.
Yes.
That's why I came a Catholic as well.
Yes. And I note in the book, it's perhaps the most moving thing in the book. You go to Mary MacKillop's tomb, now it's Sister Mary of the Cross, and you pray. What did you pray for, Dudley?
Well, to find an eating machine to feed myself.
Because you have to be fed by others, don't you?
Yes.
And there is a machine, I think it's called a Nita Eater,
Yes.
that you're working on, aren't you?
Yes, I'm raising the money for that by my books.
Oh, good. And it's a machine that feeds you?
Yes, it comes down, it moves the plate around, and I press the button.
Ah, and then it takes a bit of food and away you go.
Yes.
Mind you, you're not starving, are you?
Next question, please.
His parents are laughing here.
I just been to my carer's place to have a big schnitzel and ice cream.
Wow, oh, that's making me hungry. You're an amazing man, Dudley. You've had a happy life, haven't you?
Yes.
Yes.
And after I did this interview,
Yes.
I'm going down to Keswick train station
Yes.
to pick up one of my best friends who's coming for the book launch.
Excellent. Oh, well, you have many, many friends. And as I said, sorry, go on.
Now,
You're surrounded by love, and that is a wonderful thing. You're a cherished man, and clearly you give back to others.
yes.
And if I were at Flora MacDonald or another nursing home, I'd be very pleased to see you, much as I am now, and I can see your gifts, and that you have a gift for giving, and perhaps a gift for writing. Will you write another book, do you think, Dudley?
No.
Why?
Because it's too much work for my family.
Oh, I see. Because your parents have been marvellous, haven't they?
Yes, they have, yes.
In their support
Yes.
and their love for you.
Yes.
Dudley, good luck with the book. Where is it available? Where can we get it?
At Barker,
Yes.
at Victor,
Yes.
and Catholic Bookshop in Adelaide.
Which bookshop?
The Catholic Bookshop
Oh,
in
the
Adelaide.
Catholic bookshop, yes. And or people could ring you at Flora MacDonald.
Yes.
At Flora
Yes.
MacDonald Lodge at Candela.
I'll ring my mother.
Yes. Dudley, I thank you very much for coming in. You're an amazing man.
Just to let my listeners know,
Yes.
Kath Evans is coming over from Sydney today for the book launch. She is the lady who had the first miracle. No,
really?
Second miracle
Oh.
of Mary of the Cross with Kiddup.
There's a letter in this from somebody, and it says from M. Mitchell. Who's M. Mitchell?
She is the lady who's coming over in the train as we speak.
And she says you can make large claims about this young man who matches his suffering with his celebration.
Yes.
He's an inspiration, a man of God, a surprise as a human being. I love that, a surprise as a human being. He challenges us, balances us, delights us. A man of intense friendships and determined. Dudley, a jubilant and thankful man, is nothing other than a man of victories, and that's just wonderful. I thank you so much. It's an honour to meet you, Dudley, and I wish you a long life of giving.
Thank you too.
Thanks for coming. Dudley Afford.